You know that feeling when something starts with just a tiny, almost insignificant mistake, and then that mistake just snowballs. It gets bigger and bigger into something completely outlandish, totally wild, and, well, unforgettable.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, so what if that original error wasn't just, like, tolerated, but actually became the very foundation of an entire beloved and, let's be honest, profoundly strange world?
Ah, interesting angle.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the complete chronological lore of Wayside School. And look, this isn't just a nostalgia trip, though, maybe a little bit for those of us who grew up with it.
Right.
It's really an in-depth exploration of how the author, Sachar, meticulously built this universe just brimming with surreal humor, some, subtle underlying horror, too.
Definitely some horror hints.
And, maybe most surprisingly, this profound warmth and sense of community, and all of it pretty much originating from a basic architectural error.
It's amazing, isn't it, how creativity can just, well, spring from chaos like that.
Exactly. It's a testament to that idea.
And we'll be your guides on this. We're going to navigate through Sachar's 6 canonical novels. This is the core, right?
The main books.
And we'll even touch upon the separate animated adaptations. It's kind of their own beast, but still interesting.
Yeah, good to compare.
Our mission, basically, is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from all these sources. We want to really understand the genius behind its sideways logic.
That's the perfect word for it, sideways.
And track how this unique lore evolved across, over 4 decades now?
Yeah.
It's been around a while.
It really has.
And by the end of this deep dive, you'll discover how even, the most extreme absurdity can be a really powerful foundation for building a community, a thriving one.
And how the details matter.
Exactly. How even the strangest, most overlooked details can hold deep, sometimes unexpected meaning.
So think of this as, your shortcut to understanding a real cultural touchstone. It's this world where the bizarre is just everyday life.
Normal, almost.
Yeah, and logic operates on its very own kind of delightfully skewed terms. By the time we're done, you might even find yourself looking at everyday mistakes or, even the structure of your own world through a completely different, maybe just a little bit sideways lens. So yeah, let's unpack this. The genesis of a sideways world. Sachar's accidental masterpiece, pre-1978. Okay, so before we even, physically step into the 30-story school itself, we really have to talk about the origins, the very personal backstory to this whole universe. It's deeply rooted in Sachar's own life.
It really is. That's key.
The very first seed, the tiny idea for Wayside School, was actually planted way back when he was in high school in a creative writing class.
Yeah, can you imagine?
So a young Sachar, he gets this assignment, write a children's story, and what does he write? A tale about this truly malevolent teacher.
Mm-hmm. Not exactly fluffy bunnies.
She has this rather dark, magical ability to turn misbehaving students into apples.
Oh, great.
His teacher apparently didn't like it much. Maybe wanted something more, traditional, serious.
Yeah, probably thought it wasn't serious enough.
But Sachar himself, interestingly, he loved the concept. He held on to it. How do you see that early rejection? Does it sort of foreshadow the unique style he'd develop later?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question because, that initial spark, right, the thing that was deemed not serious by an instructor, it really does foreshadow the core of his future work.
Do you think so?
Yeah, it shows that early inclination towards, the absurd, the slightly dark, the whimsical. That mix became his unmistakable hallmark later on.
Right.
It's a fantastic example, really, of how truly creative ideas can pop up from unexpected places, even from rejection. They find their true form later.
So it didn't just die there.
No, the concept really blossomed. During Sachar's college years, he took this position, this job that profoundly shaped everything. He worked as a teacher's aide and a noontime supervisor, playground duty, at an actual elementary school.
Yeah, real-world experience.
Totally transformative. That direct hands-on experience gave him the setting, the initial character ideas, the whole feeling, the ethos for what became Wayside.
So it wasn't just imagination.
Not entirely. And the kids he supervised, they affectionately called him Louis, the yard teacher.
Ah, I love that.
And he later gave that title to his own author character in the books.
To self-insert, yeah.
And here's another cool detail. Many of those quirky students on the 30th floor They're explicitly named after the real kids Sachar knew and supervised on that playground.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it brings this authentic, kind of grounded feel to all the fantasy stuff.
That real-world connection, it really grounds the fantastical, doesn't it? It makes it relatable, even sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And Sachar himself, like, when he talks about his work, he identifies the main appeal, the core theme. It's not the strangeness, surprisingly.
Right, not just the weirdness for weirdness' sake.
No, he says it's this pervasive sense of community, of acceptance. He actually views Wayside as a fun, warm, and kind place where every student is accepted, no matter how unusual their quirks might be.
That phrase, radical acceptance, is perfect.
Yeah. This foundational idea that everyone belongs no matter how odd, it's absolutely crucial. It's not just like a school policy. It feels like the architectural principle of this whole bizarre universe.
It really does.
So what does that suggest maybe for our own logical worlds if, chaos finds its most stable footing in kindness rather than rigid rules?
That's a deep question.
Mm.
It's profound, really. If we connect that back, it explains why, despite all the weirdness, all the occasional dark bits.
Like the Apple teacher.
Exactly. Wayside School, in the main books anyway, never feels truly threatening. That underlying humanism, that radical acceptance, it lifts it beyond just slapstick or, pure absurdity.
So the warmth is key.
It posits that maybe the strongest communities aren't the ones built on perfect logic or conformity, but on the ability to embrace, even integrate profound difference. The warmth is definitely the glue.
Makes sense.
It ensures that no matter how strange a character or situation gets, there's always this anchor of genuine care. It makes the world feel safe enough to be wonderfully weird.
Okay, so we have that personal origin, that philosophical foundation. Now let's get to the literal foundation of Wayside's weirdness. This architectural blunder, so catastrophic, it basically became the school's defining feature.
The big mistake.
Right. The in-universe history, the backstory of Wayside School, actually begins with this truly foundational, catastrophic error in construction.
Mm-hmm.
The original blueprints. They called for a standard single-story building, 30 classrooms all lined up in a row, totally conventional.
Normal school layout.
Exactly. But the builder, through some, remarkable misunderstanding or maybe just incompetence.
Who knows? Maybe he held the plan sideways.
Maybe. He completely misread them, and instead they built a 30-story skyscraper, but with only one classroom on each floor.
Just stacked them up.
Yeah. This terrible mistake, as the book says the builder was very sorry for, it's the absolute inciting incident for the whole universe.
Sets the stage immediately.
It immediately establishes that Wayside does not operate according to normal logic. It's just a brilliant narrative device, isn't it? Shows how one single error can fundamentally reshape an entire reality.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how this terrible mistake isn't just like a quirky setup. It becomes an active, evolving part of the lore itself.
How so?
Well, the most critical, lore-defining feature of this whole anomaly is, without a doubt, the non-existence of the 19th story.
Ah, yes.
The missing floor.
It's not just a skipped number in the elevator, It's explicitly described as a paradoxical void. And it gains huge narrative, even kind of metaphysical significance as the series goes on.
It starts simple, though. It does. It's established early as the spectral home of the non-existent teacher, Miss Zarves.
Right, who doesn't exist.
And her equally non-existent students. So this flaw, this missing piece right in the heart of the structure, it isn't a weakness. It becomes this profound wellspring of mystery, danger, and eventually sanctuary.
It's amazing how that evolves. How exactly does Sachar manage that? To take something so simple, this missing floor idea, and weave it into such a crucial plot device later. It goes from just a running gag to something really central, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And I think Sachar achieves this by first introducing it really casually, almost a throwaway joke in the early books, right? The elevator just skips 19.
Yeah, you don't think much of it at first.
But then, as the series progresses, he gradually gives it tangible properties. He lets characters sort of perceive it.
Wait, Allison.
Exactly. Then they interact with it, and eventually they can even enter it. This gradual unfolding, it turns it from just a concept into a place.
A non-existent place.
A place that, despite its non-existence, has very real effects on the physical and psychological landscape of the school. It moves from just a find of absurdity to a site of genuine narrative importance.
Well, it ties back to the whole theme.
Yeah, it's testament to that idea that imperfection isn't just tolerated at Wayside, it's celebrated. And it can even become a source of strength, which is pretty cool. 2, the foundational canon. The original trilogy's bizarre beginnings, 1978-1995.
Okay, so with those origins of Wayside firmly established, we can now step into the bizarre classrooms ourselves. Starting with the very first book, the one that introduced us all to this delightfully skewed world, A Sideways Stories from Wayside School, 1978, establishing the absurd. So the timeline begins, maybe surprisingly, with a definite touch of subtle horror.
Yeah, it's not all fun and games immediately.
The 30th story classroom is under the rule of Mrs. Gorf, described as the meanest teacher at Wayside. Apparently, she just dislikes children.
Fundamentally dislikes them.
And to show it, she has this truly magical and, frankly, terrifying ability by wiggling her ears and sticking out her tongue.
Simple actions, big results.
She can turn any student into an apple for, like, the smallest infraction.
Instant apple.
Over the course of just 1 week, she transforms her entire class into apples. It's actually chilling.
It is. Dehumanizing, literally.
And Louis, the yard teacher, completely oblivious, right?
Yeah.
He visits the class, sees dozens of apples on her desk, and mistakenly thinks she must be a wonderful teacher because she gets so many gifts from students.
Oh, Louis. Poor guy.
But the students, even as apples, they're not passive. Led by Todd, who's always getting in trouble anyway.
Right, poor Todd.
They rebel, they bounce on Mrs. Gorf, force her to turn them back, and then in this moment of quick thinking, Jenny holds up a mirror.
Ah, the classic mirror trick.
And Mrs. Gorf turns herself into an apple.
Poetic justice.
And then the final twist, darkly funny. Louis comes back, finds this lone, shiny apple on the desk.
Oh, no.
And completely unaware, he just innocently eats her.
Wow. Talk about karmic retribution served with a side of fruit. That's quite an opening.
Isn't it?
It really is. It sets the tone perfectly for the whole series. This initial fight, it establishes the basic rules of engagement for Wayside. Meaning the students aren't just victims, right? They're ingenious, they're resourceful, even when they're facing literal dehumanization like being turned into apples. It empowers them right from chapter 1.
That's a good point.
So immediately after Mrs. Gorf's digestion, a new teacher arrives. Mrs. Jewls. She's described as terribly nice, which, initially frightens the kids because they've only known Mrs. Gorf's tyranny.
They don't trust nice.
Exactly. And when Mrs. Jewls comes in, she's taken aback by how horribly cute the children are, which leads her to the rather eccentric conclusion that they must be monkeys.
Monkeys? Seriously?
Oh, monkeys. She even thinks about throwing them out the window to see if they can fly.
Oh, my God.
This interaction is absolutely key. It establishes Mrs. Jewls' defining traits. This incredibly unique, often bizarre perspective on things. Balanced with a fundamentally kind and well-meaning nature. She's the perfect opposite of Mrs. Gorf. And she sets the stage for the school's truly unique teaching style, where lessons are learned through the most unconventional, often totally illogical ways.
And this first book also introduces us to the core group, right? The 30th floor students, each with their own defining quirk that kind of fuels their story and makes up the class.
Yeah, the whole ensemble. You get Joe.
Oh, yeah, Joe.
The kid who cannot count correctly but somehow always gets the right answer anyway. He's like a living embodiment of Wayside's sideways logic.
Totally. Then there's Cherie.
Cherie, yeah, the little girl who sleeps a lot in class.
Which Mrs. Jewls encourages.
Right, because she believes students learn best while asleep. Cherie even falls out the window during a nap.
And Louis saves her.
Louis saves her.
Yeah.
It highlights that bizarre yet somehow protective nature of the school.
And Todd, of course. We mentioned Todd. Well-meaning kid, but always unfairly getting disciplined by Mrs. Jewls. Sent home early on the kindergarten bus.
Yeah, he's kind of the relatable punching bag, isn't he? For anyone who's ever felt unfairly treated.
Totally. Then Bibby Gun.
Bibby Gun, the fastest draw. She can whip out hundreds of art pieces in a single day.
Which leads to a lesson.
Right, Mrs. Jewls uses it to teach quality versus quantity. Bibby's speed is amazing, but it becomes a lesson about thought and effort.
And John, the kid who can only read upside down.
So Mrs. Jewls teaches him to stand on his head. Makes perfect sense, right?
In Wayside, yeah. Until he gets cured by falling and hitting his head, which apparently flips his brain back.
Only at Wayside. And finally, maybe the weirdest intro, Sammy.
Oh, Sammy the dead rat.
The mysterious new student who shows up on a rainy day wrapped in multiple layers of smelly raincoats, only to be revealed, layer by layer, as a dead rat.
And Mrs. Jewls like, caught another one.
Yeah, the third one she'd caught trying to sneak into her class. These characters, with all their distinct peculiarities, they're the real heart of the school's charm. And it's a clear illustration of that radical acceptance Sachar talked about. They're all weird, but they all belong. B. Wayside School is falling down, 1989. Deepening the mythology.
Okay, so fast forward 11 years, we get Wayside School is falling down, and this one, it really starts to deepen the mythology, explore the consequences of the school's unique structure.
Yeah, building on that foundation.
It opens with Louis, the yard teacher, struggling. He's trying to deliver this heavy package, a brand new computer, all the way up to Mrs. Jewls on the 30th floor.
Quite a climb with a 1980s computer.
Right. And to Louis's absolute shock, Mrs. Jewls immediately uses this expensive state-of-the-art tech to teach a lesson on gravity by pushing it out the window.
No.
Yes. She just states, very matter-of-factly, that its weight gives a much better demonstration than the pencils and paper she'd been using before.
Oh my goodness. That poor computer.
It really solidifies Wayside's unique and often, quite destructive approach to teaching. Abstract concepts get taught with the most extreme, literal, and often hilarious examples. Practical application takes a very, very hard turn there.
You could say that. Destructive pedagogy.
This book also brings in some memorable new students, and we see others develop more, like Benjamin Nushmet.
Ah, Benjamin Nushmet, yeah. The shy new kid.
Who the class mistakenly calls Mark Miller, and Benjamin's too timid to correct them.
So he just goes with it.
For a while, yeah. He eventually convinces himself Mark Miller must be a better name because everyone else uses it. His journey to reclaim his real identity, learning to speak up, it's a recurring subplot. Kind of resonates, doesn't it?
Yeah, feeling overlooked or misidentified. Yeah. Very relatable.
And then there's that iconic, eccentric detail fans love, Calvin.
Calvin's tattoo.
Yes. He gets permission for a tattoo, and what does he choose? A tiny potato on his ankle.
A potato. It's just so perfectly Wayside, isn't it? That understated absurdity, the unique individuality, a quiet little rebellion against the ordinary.
Exactly. But the big development in this book.
The 19th story.
Yes. This book is pivotal because it really expands the mythology of that non-existent 19th story. What was just mentioned before becomes a tangible, almost metaphysical space.
How does that happen?
A student named Allison, right? She's feeling ignored, invisible to her classmates.
A common feeling in a big class.
And she actually finds herself somehow transported to Miss Zarves' classroom on the 19th floor.
Whoa. So she goes in.
She goes in and discovers it's this terrifying place of stasis. Students are trapped there forever, slowly forgetting their old lives, their identities just dissolving into nothingness.
That's actually pretty chilling, isn't it, for a kid's book?
It is. But Allison manages to escape. She figures out that disobedience, doing something wrong in class, is the only way to break the rules of the non-existent classroom and get expelled from non-existence.
Clever girl. Using the rules against the non-rules.
This marks the first time the 19th story is shown not just as a skip number, but as a real, dangerous, and accessible dimension. It totally transforms it from just a gag into a tangible and, quite unsettling metaphysical space in the lore.
Really emphasizes how that initial mistake, the missing floor, can hold both danger and opportunity. Challenges your whole idea of what it means for something to exist.
Definitely.
And the book also reinforces those supernatural elements, right? Keeps that thread going.
Yeah, adds another layer of that quirky horror. A student named Dee
Dee, right.
She becomes convinced she sees the ghost of Mrs. Gorf, the apple teacher, out on the playground.
Still hanging around.
Louis, tries to be the voice of reason, tells her it's just her imagination, but the narrative's final sentence, it delivers this little chill.
What does it say?
It says a set of adult footprints mysteriously appears in the dirt right next to Dee Dee's.
Ooh, subtle.
Yeah, strongly implying Mrs. Gorf's spirit is indeed lingering around the school grounds.
It's a great little detail. Keeps that thread of subtle horror alive, reminds you that even when the direct thread is gone, its ghost might not be. Some things just don't have neat endings at Wayside. See Wayside School gets a little stranger, 1995. A year of unprecedented upheaval.
And then we hit Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger, which lives up to its title. It chronicles maybe the most chaotic and definitely the most supernatural period in Wayside's history so far.
Things get really weird here.
The timeline actually jumps forward. There's been a 243-day school-wide closure.
Long time. Why?
It's cryptically blamed on needing to get rid of the cows.
The cows. Just cows.
Yep. Never fully explained, which just adds to the delightful absurdity.
Classic Wayside non-explanation.
So the school finally reopens, kids come back. Todd is particularly relieved because he'd been temporarily transferred to the reader's own horrible school during the closure.
Huh. Nice little meta-nod there, breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. And shortly after reopening, Mrs. Jewls announces she's pregnant and going on extended maternity leave, which naturally sets the stage for
Substitute teachers.
multiple, increasingly bizarre and explicitly supernatural substitute teachers.
This is where it gets really fun. The monsters arrive.
Yeah, the students on the 30th floor are subjected to what I call the three monsters. Each one is a different kind of threat. And they're clever, too. Their names are animal names spelled backward.
Right, the backward names. That's a great touch.
First up, Mr. Gorf.
Gorf, frog backwards, and Mrs. Gorf's son.
Exactly. Out for revenge. He has this terrifying third nostril right in the middle of his nose.
A third nostril. What does it do?
It steals people's voices, which he can then perfectly mimic. He uses this to just terrorize the students.
Creepy. How do they beat him?
In wonderfully Wayside fashion. Miss Mush, the cafeteria lady.
Miss Mush, of the mushroom surprise fame.
The very same. She smashes a pepper pie right in his face. He sneezes so hard his nose falls off and all the stolen voices are released.
A pepper pie defeats the voice-stealing nose. Perfect. Who's next?
Next is Mrs. Drazil. Drazil.
Lizard backwards.
She seems friendly at first, but nope. She's revealed to be Louis the art teacher's tyrannical, hated former teacher, holding this decades-long grudge against Louis and another ex-student, Jane Smith.
Well, grudges die hard at Wayside.
The students, though, they're fiercely loyal to Louis. They decide she's got to go. So through some clever detective work, teamwork, they find her old journal, discover Jane Smith is the key. They track down Jane, who's now a dentist named Dr. Payne.
Of course she is. Dr. Payne.
And they arrange for Mrs. Drazil to find out where she is, which leads the sub to just abandon her post in obsessive pursuit of Jane Dr. Payne. Neither is seen again.
Wow. The kids basically engineered her departure through psychological warfare. Impressive.
Yeah.
And the third monster?
Miss Wendy Nogard. Nogard.
And I'm backwards. Okay, what's her deal?
She has a third ear on top of her head.
A third ear. Okay.
It lets her hear thoughts. Other people's thoughts.
Whoa, telepathy. That's dangerous.
And she's bitter, apparently abandoned by a lover because of the ear. So she uses her mind reading to psychologically torment the students, hitting all their deepest insecurities, turning their own thoughts against them. Pure cruelty until...
There has to be a Wayside twist.
There is. This is where the story takes that wonderful redemptive turn, highlights that core warmth and acceptance again.
Ah, okay. What happens?
Mrs. Jewls comes back to the classroom, and she brings her newborn baby daughter, Mavis.
Oh, the baby.
Miss Nogard, still bitter, holds the baby, tries to read her mind, probably looking for something to twist, but all she hears is pure love and unconditional trust.
Wow, that's powerful.
It instantly cures her, melts away all the bitterness and hate, just shows the transformative power of innocence, right? Unconditional acceptance.
That's beautiful, actually.
And a redeemed Miss Nogard then accepts a date from Louis, starting this sweet, unexpected romance. A nice resolution.
And Mavis, the baby's name. There's a story there too, isn't there?
Yeah, that's fascinating. Mavis is a direct canonical homage by Sachar, named after Mavis Jewls, who was the daughter of Sachar's own real-life former teacher.
No way. That's amazing. Such a cool link between the fictional world and his personal history. Deepens that whole meta thing.
Totally. This book, more than the others maybe, really shows the evolution of Wayside's community. Notice the escalation. Mrs. Gorf in Book 1, a single magical human threat, defeated by the student's own ingenuity.
Right, kids versus teacher.
But these subs in Book 3, they're a step up, a trio of explicitly archetypal monsters, supernatural abilities way beyond just magic apples.
Like actual mythical creatures almost?
This shift, it demonstrates the growing strength and unity of the Wayside community, doesn't it? Mrs. Gorf fell to the students alone, but these monsters, they need a bigger response, a community-wide response.
That's a great point. How so?
Well, Miss Mush, a staff member, defeats Mr. Gorf. The students' collective detective work gets rid of Mrs. Drazil, and the innocence of a new community member, baby Mavis, redeems Miss Nogard. So how does this progression of threats and solutions reflect how Wayside is maturing as a setting and its themes?
It's a fantastic illustration, really. Shows the evolving nature of the challenges and the need for collective strength. Initially, the threat is individual, internal to the classroom, defeated by a spark of student rebellion. By Book 3, the threats are external, they're archetypal, much more powerful. and they require the entire community in all its diversity to step up.
So it's not just the kids anymore.
Right. It suggests that as the threats to Wayside get more severe, maybe less human, the solution needs a more unified, more powerful community response. It reinforces kindness, unique skills, unity. Those are Wayside's ultimate defense.
So that radical acceptance isn't just nice, it's necessary.
Exactly. It's not just a philosophy. It's a survival mechanism. It lets every unique skill, every personality contribute when the community faces these bigger threats. 3. The logic of the ludicrous. Sideways arithmetic and meta-narrative, 1989 and 1994. A, codifying Wayside's reality, learning to think sideways. Okay, so between the second and third main novels, Sachar released these 2 other books, the Sideways Arithmetic books.
Ah, yes, the puzzle books.
They're not just spin-offs, though. They're actually essential world-building texts. They kind of codify the unique way of thinking in the Wayside universe. They turn the ambient absurdity of the novels into a formal, in-universe educational system.
So they explain how they think sideways.
Pretty much. These books revealed that at Wayside School, arithmetic isn't taught like normal math. It's taught using spelling books.
Spelling books for math. Okay.
The core concept is called verbal arithmetic. It's a type of puzzle where letters in words stand for numerical digits, and you have to solve these words as math equations.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like, a student might get the equation elf plus elf equals fool. ELF plus ELF equals FOOL.
Okay. How do you solve that?
You have to assign a unique digit 0 through 9 to each letter.
Yeah.
So maybe E is 1, L is 5, F is 0. That makes ELF 150.
So 150 plus 150, that's 300.
Right. And F is 0, so maybe O is 3. That makes fool 300. It works. But the rules are strict. Each letter has to be a unique digit, and words can't start with 0. It requires a totally different kind of logical deduction than regular math.
Wow, that's complex. That's actually math, but hidden in words.
Exactly. And the curriculum goes beyond just that. What other kinds of puzzles are these kids tackling? It pushes their sideways thinking even further, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It extends to incredibly complex logic puzzles, all presented as just normal school activities.
Like what?
Like students might have to figure out the right answers to a test based only on other students' scores, and a few really oblique clues. It's a lesson in indirect inference, pattern recognition.
Thinking around the problem.
Or they might have to calculate the optimal number of disgusting meals Miss Mush should cook.
Oh, Miss Mush is cooking.
To ensure the maximum number of students are willing to eat them, balancing how bad it is with how many kids will actually eat it.
That's hilarious. And also weirdly practical for Wayside.
It's not just about problem solving, though. It feels like a commentary on, like, pedagogical flexibility. Makes you wonder, right? In our own education systems, are we maybe stifling unique kinds of intelligence by sticking to just one straight-up logic?
That's a great point. Wayside kind of proves that true mastery might mean mastering the rules of a completely different game, turning that intellectual chaos into a workable, maybe even superior curriculum.
So for you, the listener, it demonstrates that even in the most illogical places, a rigorous system can pop up, not just to navigate, but to actually thrive in that unique reality.
It's about finding the hidden logic within the apparent nonsense, or maybe even creating your own logic. B, the meta-narrative of Sue, breaking the fourth wall.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. Maybe even a little mind-bending.
Uh-oh. More sideways logic.
The Sideways Arithmetic books introduce a new student. Her name is Sue, and her main role at first seems to be acting as a kind of audience surrogate.
Someone for the reader to relate to.
Exactly. She's always questioning Mrs. Jewls' bizarre methods, the illogical stuff happening in the classroom. She gives you, the reader, a character who's also trying to make sense of it all.
Okay, that makes sense.
However, Sue's backstory introduces this truly significant, lore-altering meta-narrative. It blurs the lines between fiction and reality in a really profound way.
How so? What's her backstory?
It's revealed that Sue is actually a fan of sideways stories from Wayside School, the first book.
Wait, what? She read the book?
Yeah, she read the book in her old normal school, liked it so much that she actually requested a transfer to Wayside and got it.
Whoa. Hold on. A
Well,
character in the Wayside universe read the book about the Wayside universe and then transferred into it.
exactly. You see how meta that is. It creates this truly canonical bridge between our world, the reader's world, and the world of Wayside.
That's wild.
We already know Louis Sachar exists in the books as Louis the art teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the stories in the books are presented as chronicles of his real experiences at the school. So when the character Sue reads these chronicles, accepts them as fact, and is able to successfully enter that world.
It implies a causal link.
It totally implies this powerful causal link. Sachar's act of writing about Wayside in our world makes it possible for characters within his world to become aware of it and actually join its community. It's this remarkable narrative loop, an authorial paradox almost, that just enriches the lore immensely.
Okay, my brain hurts a little. But what does this blurring of the fourth wall where a character can literally read her way into the story, what does that mean for our understanding of, like, the power of narrative itself?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah. It raises this important point for you, the reader, the listener. This device elevates you from just being a passive observer to maybe a potential participant in the lore.
How do you mean?
Well, if Sue can literally transfer to Wayside after reading the book, the narrative implicitly suggests that Wayside is, in some sense, a real, accessible place, just one that operates on a fundamentally different set of rules.
Accessible through belief.
Maybe. What does this mean for the power of stories? Does the act of belief, the act of engaging with a fictional world, give it a certain kind of reality, even if only on a personal, psychological level? It truly blurs that line between the written word and lived experience. It invites you to question the boundaries of your own reality and the worlds you consume through stories. It suggests this kind of reciprocal relationship. The author creates, sure, but the reader's belief lends the story a different kind of life. 4. The animated adaptation. A parallel timeline, 2005-2008, reimagining for the screen. The Todd-centric universe.
Now, as fascinating as the book canon is, and it really is, it's important to remember that the Wayside School universe isn't just limited to the books.
Right, there's the cartoon.
Exactly. We also have the animated adaptations. There is a TV movie in 2005, and then a series that ran from 2007 to 2008.
Yeah, I remember those.
It's absolutely crucial, though, for understanding the lore, to know that these are basically a separate thing, a distinct continuity, often called the animated canon.
So not the same story exactly.
No, not at all. While they're definitely based on Sachar's work, obviously, they make some significant changes to the plot, the character dynamics, even the fundamental lore of Wayside.
What's the biggest change?
The most fundamental shift is how the narrative is framed. Instead of that rich, episodic, ensemble cast feel of the books.
Where each chapter focuses on a different kid.
Right. The animated story is explicitly centered on Todd, but he's reimagined as a brand new transfer student.
Oh, okay. So he's the newcomer now.
Yeah. This new Todd serves as the audience's direct entry point. He's the normal kid reacting to all the school's madness. It gives viewers who might be new to Wayside a familiar perspective.
Which is really different from Book Todd.
Totally different. Book Todd is a longtime student, already used to the weirdness, often unfairly disciplined. Animation Todd is the outsider looking in.
Gotcha. And the plot?
The movie's main plot is entirely new. Todd discovers the 30th floor classroom is secretly a giant trash compactor.
Trash compactor?
Yeah, activated by the principal's PA system. Adds this layer of physical danger and conspiracy that's just not in the original books at all.
Wow, okay. Big difference.
And character dynamics get changed too. Marisha, for example.
Marisha. In the book, she just loves ice cream. Right?
Yeah, especially student-flavored ice cream, which is its own weird thing.
Yeah.
But in the animation, she becomes this tomboy on roller skates with a really aggressive physical crush on Todd, always trying to punch-hug him.
Punch-hug.
Okay. It's a character trait completely absent in the novels. Just shows how they shifted things for the screen. Be visual and expanded lore.
In the animation, obviously, gives Wayside a distinct visual language. Really emphasizes the absurdity in a way words maybe can't fully capture.
How does it look?
It's depicted as this Escher-esque structure. You know, impossible stairs, doors, lockers just stuck in weird places, defying gravity. Really makes the building itself this character of impossible geometry.
Sounds visually chaotic.
It is. And each of the 30 floors is given a unique color, too. Adds to the visual chaos, makes the school feel even more disorienting and strange.
So it looks sideways, too.
Definitely. And the series introduces some new bits of lore, totally unique to this animated continuity.
Well, like what?
Well, Principal Kidswater, who's in the books too, but here he has this irrational hatred of the word door.
Hates the word door.
Yeah, insists everyone call it a guzak instead.
Guzak. Where did that come from?
Who knows? Just an animation thing. Another new rule. The school elevators only work when the stairs are out of order.
Conveniently inconvenient.
Right. And Mrs. Gorf, she's actually missing from the pilot movie.
Oh, they cut her.
From the start, yeah. But she does show up in a later episode of the series as a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
Still turns kids into apples, but it's introduced in a totally different context. C, A Tale of Two Cannons. key divergences.
So let's just quickly recap how different these two canons really are, because understanding these differences is key to appreciating both versions and just the power of adaptation itself.
Good idea. Lay it out.
Okay. Books, ensemble cast. Animation, Todd is the main guy.
Got it.
Books. Todd is a longtime student, often punished. Animation. Todd is the new kid, the audience surrogate.
Big role change.
Books. Marisha loves ice cream. Animation. Marisha is a tomboy on skates with a violent crush on Todd. Total personality shift.
Yeah, punch hugs.
Books. 30th floor is a chaotic classroom. Animation. 30th floor is a dangerous trash compactor. Adds constant peril.
Very different vibe.
Books. Mrs. Gorf gets eaten by Louis in book 1. End of story. Animation. She skipped in the pilot, shows up later as a temporary sub. Less final.
Changes her whole impact.
Books. Architecture is a simple 30-story tower built on one mistake. Animation. It's an Escher-esque, gravity-defying, illogical building. Multiplies the error visually.
Much more visually complex.
Books. Standard vocabulary. Animation. Unique terms like guzak for door. Creates its own distinct language.
It adds to the cartoon feel.
And maybe the biggest one. Book's core theme is warmth, acceptance, community within the quirkiness. Animation focuses more on the struggle of a normal kid adapting to, and often trying to change, a quirky environment.
Different focus entirely.
Right.
This comparison, it's really vital for you, the listener, to grasp. To see how source material can be reinterpreted for different mediums, different audiences.
Leads to totally different universes.
Fundamentally distinct narrative universes, yeah. Even while drawing from the same creative source. It powerfully shows the power of adaptation, the choices creators make when they bring a story to a new platform.
Neither's necessarily better.
Not necessarily better or worse, no. They just offer very different experiences, different thematic focuses. It teaches us how the medium itself can shape the message, even the nature of the lore. The book canon, it seems to prioritize internal consistency, thematic depth maybe, while the animated canon goes more for visual spectacle, a more traditional hero's journey arc for Todd V., the modern era. Wayside School, Beneath the Cloud of Doom, 2020. A, confronting a new reality. The Cloud of Doom.
Okay, then jump forward again. 25 years after the third book, Louis Sachar came back to the main series with Wayside School, Beneath the Cloud of Doom.
The Big Return, 2020.
And this book, it represents a really significant evolution in the Wayside lore. It introduces more complex, kind of allegorical threats, while still reinforcing those core series themes.
How does it do that?
The main conflict is the arrival of this massive, oppressive cloud of doom that just settles ominously over the school.
The literal cloud.
A literal cloud, but it's way more than just weather. It's described as an atmospheric force that causes pervasive anxiety, depression, and uncharacteristically bad behavior among everyone, students and staff.
Whoa, that sounds heavy. Anxiety and depression.
Yeah, and what's really profound is Sachar himself said in interviews that this cloud of doom was directly inspired by his own anxieties about real-world stuff like global warming, the political climate at the time.
So it's an allegory.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And why it matters is that this represents a big thematic maturation for the series. Instead of just facing individual antagonists, magical or monstrous.
Like Gorf or Drizel.
Right. Wayside now confronts this pervasive environmental allegorical threat that hits the entire community's collective mental state. It's a brilliant way, I think, to take that established surrealism and apply it to modern, complex, deeply human anxieties.
That's fascinating. How is Sachar's specific brand of surrealism uniquely suited to tackle these abstract, pervasive anxieties? Maybe in a way that more grounded fiction might struggle with.
That's a great question.
Because it seems like a natural fit, almost.
That's precisely it, I think. Wayside's established surrealism gives Sachar this unique permission slip, you know? In a world where a school is built sideways, where teachers turn kids into apples, where a floor just doesn't exist.
Ooh, the bar for weird is already high.
Exactly. So a cloud of doom that causes depression, it doesn't feel out of place. It's just another logical extension of that already skewed reality.
Whereas in a realistic novel.
Right. More grounded fiction might struggle to introduce such a literal manifestation of collective anxiety without it feeling forced or too obviously symbolic. But for Wayside, it just is.
It fits the internal logic.
Yeah. And that lets Sachar address really real heavy themes. Climate anxiety, political division in a way that's accessible, even still whimsical, but also deeply impactful, especially for his audience. It's a powerful tool for allegory, makes the abstract concrete in a context where the bizarre is already normalized. B, new school-wide projects and problems under the cloud.
So, under the influence of this cloud of doom, life on the 30th floor, as you'd expect, gets even stranger. Existing quirks get amplified.
How so?
Well, Mrs. Jewls, in her uniquely sideways teaching style, starts this school-wide project. Collect 1 million nail clippings.
1 million nail clippings. Why?
As a tangible, if, yes, incredibly bizarre way to teach the concept of a million.
Oh my God. That's peak Mrs. Jewls.
Isn't it? Take an abstract concept, make it utterly, memorably, physically present, no matter how gross or unusual.
Definitely memorable. What else happens?
Meanwhile, Kathy, you remember Kathy?
Yeah.
The perpetually contrary student who always says the opposite of what she means.
Yeah, everything's opposite day for her.
She gets diagnosed by Dr. Pickle, who sounds like a wayside doctor, with a condition called oppositosis.
Oppositosis. Okay.
The condition literally causes her to say and do the exact opposite of her intentions, which for Kathy actually means she inadvertently starts saying nice things.
Ah, the opposite of contrary is nice.
Right. She gets cured through hypnosis that makes her think she's on the other side of a mirror, which results in her becoming much nicer, but with the side effect that she now writes all her schoolwork backward.
Of course she does. It's a classic wayside solution, isn't it? Unexpected, illogical, yet somehow strangely effective. Turns a problem into growth, but in a totally unconventional way. C, the ultimate test. So, as tensions and bad behavior are escalating under this cloud, Mrs. Jewls, ever the unconventional educator, announces the ultimate test.
The ultimate test. Sounds intense.
It's not your standard exam, though. Not scantrons and essays. Instead, it's this 3-day competition made up of the most bizarre events imaginable.
Like what?
Like a spelling bee, but with entirely made-up words. Challenges students to think about the structure of language, not just memorizing. And a stairway quiz that defies normal logic, needs physical and creative problem solving.
Okay, definitely not standardized testing. But what's the secret purpose here? How does this test show Mrs. Jewls' kindness and her innovative teaching, especially when everyone's stressed out by the cloud?
Ah, the secret purpose. It's truly brilliant, host. Really speaks volumes about Mrs. Jewls' fundamental kindness, her deep understanding of these unique kids.
What is it?
It's secretly designed to play to each individual student's unique strengths, to ensure that nobody truly fails.
Oh, wow. How?
Well, think about it. A kid like Joe, who can't count but always gets the right answer, he'd excel where the answer matters more than the method. Baby Gunn, the super fast artist, she'd be challenged to apply her speed creatively.
So it's tailored to them. Exactly. It's another perfect example of Mrs. Jewls' sideways, yet ultimately incredibly kind and empathetic approach. She gets the conventional tests won't work for wayside kids. So she creates a system where everyone can succeed on their own terms. It fosters self-worth, even in the middle of the cloud of doom chaos.
It's an affirmation of that radical acceptance again, even in a crisis. D, the 19th story, as sanctuary and transformation.
And the book's climax, it's deeply impactful. It brings a powerful evolution to the lore, tying together a lot of these threads we've talked about.
What happens?
The cloud of doom gets so threatening, so oppressive, it forces an immediate emergency evacuation of the whole school.
Everyone has to get out.
Yeah. And as the students are stampeding down the stairs, desperate, looking for any refuge, they find it by entering Miss Zarves' classroom on the non-existent 19th story.
Whoa. The 19th story again, but this time it's safe.
Exactly. This paradoxical void, which was once a symbol of error, maybe a place of danger where kids could be forgotten, now it becomes a sanctuary, a literal safe place from this overwhelming external threat.
That's a huge shift for the 19th floor.
Huge. And inside this impossible space, Myron, one of the students, finally achieves that class goal. He provides the millionth nail clipping.
The nail clippings. How?
He gets it by trimming Miss Zarves' impossibly long fingernail.
Miss Zarves' fingernail. Ooh. But okay, weirdly satisfying resolution to that bizarre project.
Totally. And when the students eventually come out of the classroom, the storm, the cloud has passed. But they discover the crisis, and their journey into the 19th story had this profound physical effect on the school itself.
What happened to the school?
All 30 floors have been completely shuffled into a new random order.
Wow, the whole building got rearranged.
Physically reordered, top to bottom.
That's a remarkable transformation, not just for the kids, but for the school itself. This book, it profoundly evolves the lore, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
The conflict isn't just about outsmarting one teacher or one monster anymore. It's about enduring this shared psychological burden, this allegory for communal anxiety.
Right, a collective threat.
And the solution is also more profound, more communal. finding sanctuary in the school's most paradoxical space, and then collectively rebuilding, reorienting themselves after the very structure of their world got physically scrambled. What does this final transformative act tell us about Wayside's capacity to tackle these complex communal psychological challenges? And about the maturation of its core ideas for, a new generation of readers?
It tells us Wayside, while still gloriously absurd, has definitely matured significantly. It's no longer just a place where weird things happen. It's a community that actively responds to systemic threats, not just individual ones.
It grew up a little.
In a way, yeah. The school's architectural mistake, that 19th story, transforms from a source of danger into an essential refuge, and the shuffling of the floors afterwards. It isn't presented as a fresh disaster, but more like an opportunity for collective rebuilding, a reestablishment of their unique reality on new terms.
So they adapt.
They adapt. It demonstrates Wayside's capacity to tackle these complex, communal psychological challenges. It really reflects a maturation of its core ideas, making it relevant for new readers grappling with their own global anxieties. It shows that even when things are profoundly messed up, there's a way forward. And sometimes the best solutions are hidden in the most unexpected places, even within the very fabric of an initial mistake.
The enduring and evolving legacy of Wayside School.
Wow, what an incredible journey, huh? Through the truly sideways world of Wayside School, from like a discarded high school writing assignment,
Just an idea about apples.
all the way to a complex allegory for our modern anxieties. This lore has spanned over 4 decades, multiple media formats. It demonstrates this truly remarkable creative evolution.
Absolutely. And we've clearly seen that progression, right? From the localized, almost magical threats in the early books like Mrs. Gorf to the more monstrous archetypal challenges in the middle trilogy with those animal-named substitutes.
Frog, lizard, dragon.
And finally, to that pervasive psychological conflict of the most recent novel, The Cloud of Doom. And crucially, the solutions evolved right alongside those threats.
How so?
Moving from individual ingenuity, the kids figuring things out, to a community-wide response involving a staff and teamwork, and ultimately to collective rebuilding after a fundamental transformation of their whole reality.
That's a great summary of the arc. And despite those big differences between the main book canon, Louis Sachar's singular vision, and that parallel animated canon, which kind of reimagined things. Guzak. That core philosophy, it's consistently remained the unshakable foundation through all of it.
The heart stays the same.
As Sachar himself identified right from the start, the central enduring theme is that celebration of individuality within a community defined by warmth, by kindness, by radical acceptance.
That's the key.
The true enduring lore isn't just the bizarre events or the eccentric characters, fun as they are. It's this unwavering philosophical conviction that holds the whole surreal structure together. It's what lets the chaos be constructive, maybe.
Indeed. It really is. In a world literally built sideways by mistake, where logic often seems to just, take a vacation.
Or work differently.
Right. The most logical response, the most courageous, ultimately the most joyful response, is simply to embrace the absurdity. With friendship, with kindness, with an open heart. It's kind of a model, isn't it? For navigating an unpredictable world with resilience and, joy.
Outro.
So this deep dive really shows us how a school built literally on a mistake became not just a quirky setting, but this place of profound warmth, where even non-existent floors can become sanctuaries, and where the weirdest problems get solved with collective creativity and kindness. It's just a powerful testament, I think, to finding logic and finding joy in the ludicrous, and to building a strong, accepting community right in the face of absolute chaos. Well said. And we've seen specifically how Wayside School transforms its initial terrible mistake, the sideways construction, the missing floor, into its greatest source of mystery, danger, and ultimately sanctuary.
Right. The flaw becomes the feature.
Exactly. Which raises an important question maybe for you, the listener, to think about.
What's that?
What mistakes in your own life, or maybe even in the structures of the world around you, what things that seem wrong or out of place might actually be hidden foundations. Foundations for creativity, for unexpected connections, or maybe even for a unique kind of magic, if you just learn to look at them sideways.